Hi there. Just wanted to give you a quick rundown as to the different stages of development of the card game. It started with an idea of teaching financial knowledge, but in a fun way with some key financial principles. After doing the research as to what those were, I started to get to work on developing a card game. And I started with this set of cards, which is roughly 40 years old. It's a design of Australian Aboriginals from 40 years ago, which is probably not that representative of Aboriginal society, but these are card decks my mum had, and I borrowed them and used those playing different versions of games that I created from different foundations using poker style and other different types of games as a foundation and modifying them to see if I could get those key principles into the game. And I was using both decks. Well, initially I wasn't, and I started adding more cards in, seeing how that worked, and I found that actually more of the lower numbered cards made the risk element or reduced the chance of getting the bigger numbers, which made the game a bit harder. The other thing that I noticed in playing the game that I was working on is the ace card, and as we know, the ace can be a 1, but it can also be the high card. And that reminded me of a time, a funny story, when we were playing cards. A girl that we were playing with, she had what was called she played what was called a wraparound straight. So what she had, if I can find the cards, she would have a king, a queen, so she played king, queen, and then she would play an ace, and then say a 2 and a 3, and she'd go, well, that's a wraparound straight. King, queen, queen, king, ace, 2, 3. That's the wraparound straight was as she called it. We had a bit of a giggle at that and asked her about the story, but apparently her boyfriend had told her that was a legal hand, so no doubt he got into a lot of trouble when she got home that night. But that got me thinking with that is this whole concept of risk, and with the wraparound straight as it was, there is no high card here. So because you go through and it keeps looping around. So, and combine that with because you're only holding 6 cards in your hand, you don't know what's left in the deck. So that there is a strong element of risk as to whether you are going to win, because if you don't have that, then you pretty much know if you've got a king, you've got, especially in a trick taking card game, you've got the high card, or the ace is a high card depending on how you're playing. But with this element here of the ace resetting to 1, and then a 2 being able to beat it of the same suit, that changes the game significantly and adds a whole new dimension of risk to the game. So that's where we started. Went through lots and lots of iterations of different versions, and finally ended up with a trick-taking version, and that seemed to work the best. And also adding in a whole bunch of other cards. So instead of 52 cards, we've got 90 cards. So that was where the game started, and then I got a set printed up. I just did some rough artwork, just made this up myself. So you have your property, bonds, gold, and stocks. So, and then your bull and your bear cards for the same principle. So we started with a 2 card. So you'd start with a 2 through to 10. And then you'd have the bear card would technically be the low card, so that would be your 1, and then the bull card would be your high card, except when you're playing the game, if someone plays a bull, a bear can be played on top of it, which resets the value to 0, and then any card after that of the same suit can beat it. So it can bring in that whole element of risk of not knowing what is happening as far as the high card goes, because there isn't one. Adds a whole different level of stress to the game. And seriously, if you are on a pacemaker, be careful about how excited you get with the game, because there is no certainty there at all. So that was what I had made up, and then there's the back that I had an idea for Road to Riches and as a name, but I didn't like that at all, and ended up with Epic Financial Card Game. But again, I'm not. If there's someone who's got an idea that they think's better, please put it forward. I'd love to hear from you, and we can, if the crowd consensus goes with that, we can have your name in lights. This was the high and low risk cards that I had made. Again, very simple design, just was a functional test set of cards. So that's where that was at. After that, I did some artwork, some more detailed artwork, which I wanted to make the game more connected with games that people are used to. So I had this set made up. And this is, as you can see, comparing to the previous deck, we've got the high and the low risk cards. So I think this is a much nicer design. There's your high risk and your low risk, and I think the orange speaks very nicely to the risk level there, and same with the aqua on the other side. So that was the high and the low risk cards, and this was the artwork done. I wanted to have something that simply people could connect to in a way that we're used to. So we've got the different, I'll just move that for a moment. So we've got the stocks, some bonds, some property, and gold, which, you know, the colors speak to games that we're probably used to playing and have played for those that play cards regularly. And the blue is a nice contrast, I think, to those colors, and the artwork stands fairly clearly as to what it is. Gold, property, bonds, and stocks stand out fairly clearly. And then there was the addition of the bull and the bear card, as you can see. So we've got the bull here and the bear. I'm not quite satisfied with the bear yet. I think I want to stand the bear more upright, so the bear is more vertical compared to the bull being horizontal. So I'm playing with that artwork at the moment, and I'm also not sold on the white around the outside. I don't quite like that as much. But that's where that artwork came to, and as you can see from that perspective of playing the game as well, there's a whole element of risk. So you might have, let's find a high card here. So where are we? Let's take a 10. So someone plays a 10, then someone plays, they might play 7 because they don't have the right card. Then someone plays a bull, which beats the 10. Someone has a bear, that beats the bull, that resets it to 0, and then either a 2 or a 3 can beat it. Again, taking that whole high card out of the equation really adds a whole different level of risk to the game. So that's where that artwork is at the moment, and the development of their cards. So there's a few bits and pieces to might change slightly, but I think we've got a really nice looking set of cards here. Some nice artwork with your bull and your bear, and then the different bonds, stocks, property, and gold, I think, work very well, and your high and your low risk cards. So, and then from there, wanted to take it a little bit further and add a little bit more value if it gets unlocked. We've got a nice card box here which works, and it's over an inch thick. So there's a lot of cards here that you've got, a lot of value in the game. 73% more for those who are into statistics than a standard deck. But I wanted to add a little bit more, and that's where I came up with this box as well. So I had this is just a very quick test that I knocked up quickly to have it delivered with the cards, but it's a flip top box. My aim is that the Flyer of Champions, everyone that helps with the game promotion as per on the website, or gets any of the achievements, your name will go inside here. There'll be instructions on the bottom, and you know the final artwork will be there. It'll be one artwork, not two. It's just something I said I quickly put together. There's only one set of cards go in here, so you'd have your set which split in half, in one side and the other side like that, and that would be your the final version of the card game. So that's how it developed. I hope that gives you some insight into the process that it went through. There's a lot of work that went into getting the game to work, from using these original cards to playing. I swear I had so many different personalities playing with different versions by myself until I tested it with other people. Getting that right, then having a test set made just to see how that worked. Oops, that's the side we want. So with the stocks, bonds, property, and gold in there, which is kind of cute, but it's not as nice as I would like it to be. And then taking that next step further with these cards that were specifically artwork designed. So you've got your property, gold, some more property, bonds, and then your stocks as well. So, which I think those colours contrast very nicely against each other. The artwork clearly represents what it is. So I'm very comfortable with where that's at, and that's how we got to our card game. Thank you very much for listening.